The hall became unusually quiet the moment Ada stopped in the center of the room. Not because she demanded attention. Not because she raised her voice. But because confidence had a way of silencing noise. The royal purple gown flowed perfectly around her, as the chandeliers reflected softly against the fabric. Her shoulder-length natural curls framed her face beautifully, and the calm expression she wore made her look even more untouchable. Tunde could not take his eyes off her. His fingers slowly loosened around the glass in his hand. "That's Ada," he said quietly. Vanessa looked at him immediately. "You know her?" Tunde swallowed hard. Before he could answer, Ada's father stepped beside her again, with a proud smile. "Ladies and gentlemen," he announced warmly, "I want to properly introduce my daughter, Ada Okafor." The guests applauded softly. Tunde froze. "Daughter?" His eyes widened. Vanessa noticed the change in his face instantly. "You never told me you knew the Okafor family," she whispered. But Tunde barely heard her. His entire attention remained fixed on Ada. The same woman he abandoned. The same woman he left standing alone while pregnant. Now standing in the middle of one of the most powerful rooms in the city like she owned the air itself. Because she did. Ada's father continued speaking proudly. "She recently returned to oversee part of the family business expansion. And I can confidently say she has already exceeded expectations." More applause followed. Ada smiled politely. Controlled. Elegant. Untouchable. Tunde felt heat rising in his chest. Because suddenly every memory came rushing back. The nights Ada supported him when he had nothing. The meals she paid for. The promises he made. The child he walked away from. Vanessa noticed how distracted he looked and crossed her arms slightly. "You're staring too much." "I'm not," Tunde replied quickly. But he was. And Ada noticed. Of course she noticed. Still, she did not react. That hurt him more. Not anger. Not sadness. Nothing. As though she had completely outgrown the pain he caused. One of the guests approached Ada with a smile. "Ada, congratulations on the new Lagos project. Everyone's talking about it." "Thank you," she replied calmly. Another businessman joined them. "Your father speaks very highly of you." Ada smiled politely again. "That means a lot." Tunde stood there silently watching stranger after stranger admire the woman he once treated like she was nothing. Vanessa finally looked directly at him. "Who exactly is she to you?" He hesitated. "A long time ago, we were together." Vanessa's expression changed slightly. "You dated her?" Tunde nodded slowly. Vanessa glanced toward Ada again, suddenly understanding why his behavior had shifted the moment she entered. "You never mentioned her." "There was nothing to mention," he said quietly. But even he knew that was a lie. Because Ada had once been everything. Across the hall, Ada accepted a glass of juice from a waiter while speaking calmly with guests. She carried herself with a level of grace that made people naturally move closer to her. Not because she tried to impress them. But because real power never needed to announce itself. Then her father leaned closer. "Are you all right?" he asked softly. Ada smiled gently. "I'm fine." "You sure?" Her eyes briefly moved toward Tunde before returning to her father. "I said I'm fine." And surprisingly, she meant it. Months ago, seeing Tunde again would have broken her. But now she only saw a man who underestimated her. A man who abandoned loyalty for appearance. A man who thought wealth was something he could marry into without realizing the woman he left already came from it. Tunde finally gathered enough courage to move. Vanessa immediately noticed. "Where are you going?" "I just want to say hello." Vanessa gave a short laugh. After staring at her all night. "That's not just hello." Ignoring the comment, Tunde adjusted his suit and slowly walked across the hall. Every step felt heavier than the last. Ada noticed him approaching almost immediately. So did her father. The older man's expression became neutral. Tunde stopped a few feet away. For a moment, nobody spoke. Then he finally cleared his throat. "Ada." Her expression remained calm. "Tunde." Hearing his name from her lips again made his chest tighten. "You look," he paused, searching for words. "Different." Ada gave a small polite smile. "People grow." The response was simple. But it hit harder than anger. Tunde nodded awkwardly. "I didn't know that I was Richard Okafor's daughter," she finished calmly. He looked embarrassed. "Yes." Ada took a small sip from her glass before replying. "A lot of people don't." There was no bitterness in her voice. No revenge. No attempt to humiliate him. And somehow that made him feel even worse. Because she had every reason to hate him. Yet she stood before him completely composed, while he struggled to even breathe properly. Vanessa eventually walked over, her red gown drawing attention as she joined them. "Ada, right?" she said politely. Ada nodded once. "Yes. I've heard a lot about your family business." "Thank you." The conversation stayed polite. Civilized. But underneath it sat years of history no one could ignore. Then one elderly guest approached with a smile. "Ada, your son is adorable by the way. Your nanny showed us photos earlier." The second those words landed, Tunde's face changed completely. "Your son," he repeated slowly. Ada looked directly at him. For the first time all night, silence truly became uncomfortable. "Yes," she answered calmly. Tunde stared at her like the world had suddenly tilted beneath him. A son. His mind instantly calculated dates. Memories. Timelines. And then realization hit him all at once. Ada watched the understanding spread across his face. Watched the regret arrive too late. Vanessa looked confused between both of them. But Ada remained perfectly calm. Because unlike before, she no longer needed closure. She no longer needed validation. And she definitely no longer needed the man who abandoned her. Tunde opened his mouth slightly. But no words came out. Ada simply adjusted the sleeve of her royal purple gown and gave him one final composed look. Then she turned gracefully toward the guests waiting for her across the hall. Leaving Tunde standing there in complete silence. And for the first time in his life, he finally understood what losing her truly cost. If you enjoyed this story and want to see what happens next, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below. Would you forgive Tunde if you were Ada? Eyes fire.